now we are really excited to be joined by just a guy that you see all over the local airwaves talking sports, whether it's joining some radio spots, whether it's on TV with certain stations around town. I don't know if you're still with Fox. Are you still with Fox 8?
Yeah, I think they pay me still.
Okay, I'm just making. I was like, oh God, I don't want to say that.
No, I appreciate it. You can say, Mike, you can say I'm with anybody because I'll go in there if they pay me.
I'm killing this intro so far.
As long as the check's good, you can hire me. Go ahead.
Killing the intro.
I'll get out the intro. Don't make the here. I'll give you a rule. Don't make the intros too hard. You see this jackass's face all over the place. You hear him all over the place. He's one of the luckiest bastards in all of Northeast Ohio. He appreciates all the things that have happened to him. I'm one of you guys, and I'm glad to be here on the podcast.
Andre Knott, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, Andre, we've got a couple other special guests coming up. Can you come intro them for us?
Absolutely.
This bastard.
Yeah. See, you don't feel comfortable saying it, but I do because I know. And sometimes, some of the rules that I've learned throughout, in reporting and all the stuff they tell you, a lot of it is hogwash that people have never done before. And it's in reality, one of the hardest things I have, Mike, is the same thing. I'll be sitting here, I'm getting ready, in the next 24 hours or whatever. And I just talked to my producer about this. I'm in Arizona to do games on TV, but we're trying to piece together and do a bunch of interviews that we haven't been able to do over a year because of the pandemic. So I'm teared up. I'm going to be, fingers crossed there. I've passed all my tests so far, but if I pass, I'll be tier 2. That means I'll actually be able to be in the same room as somebody and not be on freaking Zoom.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal.
Cool.
That's huge. That's what they pay me for. It's I get to do my job. Holy shit. But in saying that, I'm sitting around a room by myself all day and off and on calls. And I was talking to my producer and I was like, man, I just want to sit down and have a conversation with Shane Bieber. And he's like, Dre, he goes, that's what you do. But I'm already writing down notes. I'm writing down notes of how to start stuff. And he's like, don't be who you aren't. Just start talking to guys like you always do. He goes, they're going to be just as excited to talk to you as you are to talk to them because it won't be on Zoom. So I guess what I'm getting at, don't ever make, and it's true because I do it myself, don't make the intro too hard. The people will figure it out. If people think I'm an asshole and don't like me, you can give the best thing ever and they'd still be like, he's a dick.
That's right. It's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Well, I'd like to try to give somebody something good, but you know what? You did better than I ever could. So it is much appreciated. If you didn't catch on at this point, on-field reporter for the Cleveland Indians, Andre Knott. That's the main reason he is here with us, as we are just a couple weeks away, really, from the Indian season kicking off, and a lot of developments, a lot of stuff going on. And frankly, through the spring training and I think everybody gets that COVID brain, Andre, where it's hard to kind of keep track outside of the one humongous move that the Indians made this offseason. It really is kind of hard to keep track of everything with everything else going on. So we're going to talk a lot about that, but here's where I want to start. Here in Cleveland, it was a hard week. As we lost a legend. We lost a guy that was on this podcast 3 weeks ago.
Are you serious?
Joe Tait was on with us 3 weeks ago, and it's incredible what happened in that time. And obviously since then, we've kind of found out that he probably knew at that time that this was happening, but he certainly didn't let on with us. You had a really cool, a couple things that I saw. I was watching the Cavs game last night. We're recording this on a Saturday. I was watching the Cavs game last night, and they were doing a tribute. And they're showing Joe Tait. I think it was on Joe Tait Appreciation Night.
Yeah.
And they're showing Joe, and I'm looking in the background, and right behind Joe Tait with his camera, there's Andre Knott taking some pictures. You had a really nice post that you put on Twitter that you used to emulate Joe's voice growing up, and he was somebody that taught you a lot about the business. What'd you learn from Joe, and how did he help you with your development?
Man, I would have been such a jack off when I started this podcast if I know the first thing you're asking me about is Joe Tait.
We like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, you did a good job right there. I want to say this the right way, and I don't want to be too wordy with it. As I said in the very beginning, I'm a Northeast Ohio kid who literally had a lot of the same dreams as most of us have when it comes to sports in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio and our teams. And, I took a job with the Cavs probably 19 years ago as a game operations guy. I took it because a guy that, and if you guys have heard this part of the story or whatever, I apologize. I wanted to always do play-by-play. I always wanted, I grew up in Akron, and I listened to Joe Tait. I listened to Jim Donovan. I listened to, you name the names, Bruce Drennan. And the crazy thing is I've worked with all these guys, Tom Hamilton. You couldn't write a better script. My story, I couldn't, if you would have told me 20 years ago, and there's another part of the story, but I'm not allowed to let out the bag. John Tellage was one of my favorite people growing up. I've worked with him. And this is not bragging in any sort of way at all. I am the luckiest son of a bitch of all time because I have worked, or all those guys' names that I've mentioned are in my phone. And not only have I worked with them, they've become friends. They've become sounding boards. Matt Underwood is one of my, Matt Underwood and I randomly met 16, 17 years ago when I was right out of school at a bar, which is very fitting for our relationship because we love having a beer together. And literally I went up to him. I was like, man, I just want to be successful in this business. Help me. And Matt gave me some advice that still plays to this day. And now Matt's one of my best friends. And now he was a year ago at this time, almost dead on. My dad was here in Arizona. We had a house that Matt rented out a house. I had a house with my dad, my family, my dad, and his dad was in town. We all cooked out and ate out. And we had so many bottles of wine and had tears in our eyes hanging out with our dads and each other and the group of guys that we do games with. It was we call it the last meal. Amongst ourselves, it's it was the last dinner because COVID took over. But the meal was great. And I'm going to get to the Joe Tait part of this, but I just got to tell you guys, and I won't tell the full story, but it became like a mafia movie, sitting around a table. Nobody killed anybody. No money. It was one of those. But it was one of those conversations. We had a big table, the best meal, big steaks and bottles of wine. And we're sitting there with our dads telling war stories. We're falling out of chairs. It was the best night ever. And it was like being with family. And I say all that because I don't get here where I'm at without Joe Tait. First of all, I did emulate him. If you haven't been in your backyard and said wham with a right hand,
oh yeah,
or elo for that's me. So Joe, I was in their business already. I was working at Can-R part-time. I was still delivering pizza for Giannino's Pizza in the Valley. Without them, my ass would still be broke. My wife still thinks of me. She calls me the pizza boy. So I get no respect in the crib, man. I called Giannino's one time. It was I used to work there. And she told me to hang up there and spit on your pizza. I was like, damn, that's my pizza place. Anyway, so Joe Fritchen, I have to say his name. He was an engineer for the Cavaliers broadcast team. He was also working. He was in a band, had long hair. He was also he engineered for Joe Tait. But he also worked at the Q. He still works at the Q at this point in time. So he told me, Dre, there's just going to be this game operations job coming up with the Cavs. It's the year before LeBron was coming, and we knew. And they were kind of trying to bulk up all the in-game stuff, to look like everyone else. By the way, something Joe Tait despised. So Joe Fritchen comes to me and goes, he knew I was just out of school. I was broke. I was drinking any beer you left around. I still might. So Fritch comes.
And then how many you had at first?
Yeah. And it's kind of and it's how the business works. And I tell kids this all the time. It's not about your grade point average. You have to obviously, you have to get through the classes. But in reality, for me, it was who you knew. So Fritch comes to me and goes, dude, this job's going to open up. Go for it. Anything they ask you, say yes. If you don't know how to do it, whatever, we'll figure it out. Don't tell me twice. I go back into the fancy building. They ask me if I ever run whatever the machine was. I go, yeah, bald face lie.
Sure have.
Basically walk out finding out I'm getting ready to be the DJ at the freaking ball at the game. I've never done this ever before in my whole life. And I call Fritchen instantly hey, asshole, man, you got me hitting buttons, making music during the game. You didn't tell me that. And he was like, dude, you wanted it. But the kicker to all of this was that Joe Tait, I would be able to sit behind Joe Tait. And so I lied. I said anything they wanted because I wanted to sit behind Joe Tait and I wanted to know how Joe Tait did what he did because I wanted to be Joe. I wanted to do play-by-play in the NBA. Heck, I want to do NBA in my backyard. And the thing is, you find out, and I know this now because I've worked with all of them. And they're all tremendous in their own way and preparing. Even if you think they suck, dude, to get to the point to be able to do play-by-play and do it subconsciously the way they do it, the mind is just built different. Like Jim Donovan, literally, I've been walking like in a mall with Jim Donovan, and he'll literally be like, he comes across the middle, he catches it 5, and you're like, what the? And then you're like, why did Kevin Johnson drop the pass? But in reality, his mind works, and he literally does a game like without even thinking about it. So I got the job, and I got to sit behind Joe Tait, and literally I was thrilled. I don't even know what they paid me. It was actually good pay. So I was blown away because I got the job. I walk in the first day. I'm nervous as crap. I went in and suddenly, and for a guy that talks for a living, I was more afraid of hitting the wrong button, like during the national anthem or during like when the cheerleaders were cheering. Like that was more scary than getting in front of like 20,000 people and saying, "Welcome to the queue." Like, I don't know why. Especially when people would walk in and like you'd hit a wrong button, I'd be like, "Oh shit!" And like,
just right in the middle of the national anthem.
Yeah, like, why does that guy keep cussing up there? Anyway, the first day, Joe Fritchen, who I love to death regardless, but I say his name that much because I think we all should always remember the people that helped us get places. And Joe walks me up to Joe Tait. He says, "Joe, this is Andre, really good guy. He's engineered for me a couple times on my shows for KNR. He's in AM radio. He's really good on air, can do play-by-play, can do everything. Like Fritchen gives this like amazing. He was better than you, Mike." No,
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. And I hadn't done crap, so he was probably lying. So really, your man did better. And Joe goes on to Joe about me. And after this, 45-second long-winded airbag of nothing about me, Joe Tait looks at me and goes, "Well, nice to meet you. I don't listen to that shit. Good luck."
Yes.
And he puts his hand out, shake, and I sit down and I'm like,
"Oops."
Yeah,
Oops.
like,
Oh my God.
There that goes. We built a relationship, man, and the coolest relationship. It was real. It was a real relationship. Now, in telling that story, Joe would come in every day. "Hey, Andre, how's your family?" If you've met him, you knew how genuine he was. Everybody in this business and everybody in this world aren't genuine. I'm bad at remembering people's names at times. I remember faces, but I don't remember names all the time. And it's always been like this. Matter of fact, if you ever meet me with my wife, I can 95% tell you that I will say, "Hey, this is my wife, Jen," and she knows to reach her hand. Well, pre-COVID, she knows to reach her hand out and say, "Hi, I'm Andre's wife, Jennifer. What's your name?" Like, she knows to know that. Even if I know your name, she knows this dumbass probably forgot, so I got to do it.
Yeah, you're avoiding the "Hey, you."
Exactly.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly. That's I'm giving you guys one of my tell signs. So anyway, Tait,
if I ever see you and your wife out, I'm gonna be like, no. You don't get to say hi first, Andre.
I'm gonna be like, "Shitty introductions brought to you by Mike."
Yes. Come on.
I'm messing around. It wasn't shitty. I'm just messing with you.
Remember that.
You should, and I won't forget your face, though. So Tait, just from there, and I'll let you get to other questions. From there, Tait he recognized what I was. If my parents came to a game, I introduced that he treated them like, he would hand them the notes, the game notes and whatever else, and tell them how great I was doing. Then I'd walk away. They'd walk away and be like, "You owe me $5 for that lie." He was just, so in all those moments, I feel bad because I started getting to an age, by the time the video you saw, I was getting to an age where I knew how Joe felt about a lot of things. And Joe just wasn't into the circus that is the game. And he had told me that when I was doing the job, where we would bring in certain acts and I knew they were shitty or I knew they were bad. And he would turn to me and he'd go, "Andre," he goes, "stop with the bullshit." And I'm like, "Joe, it's not me." And he would "Tell him if you want." He goes, "You put dogs, kids on the floor, that's it." And he goes, "And if a dog takes a shit on the floor, well, you hit the bloopers. But so what?" He was all this loud shit. And he was honest. He was great. He was who he was. But two things I'll say, and I'll wrap it up and I'll make it quick with that. So literally 6 months into the job, It's like April. It's like an NFL draft. So I did a bunch of NFL draft coverage or whatever, right? And my man Joe Tait waddles his ass over to his place before the game. And he's looking at me, and I already know he's about to give me some shit. And he hasn't mentioned me doing radio, but here and there for 6 months. And he goes without missing it. Hey, you're doing pretty good on the radio. And if you bring up one more goddamn thing about that quarterback from Notre Dame, he stinks.
Oh, Joe, why didn't we all listen to him?
And then he goes, but keep up the good work and don't take shit from any of those other guys you do the shows with. I love you.
Oh,
like
man.
Right there, that was better than a check. That was better than any check that I've ever received. That was better than any, like, Joe Tait was listening to me. Joe Tait was going out of his way to listen to what I was saying and remembering things I was saying because he would bring them back up to me. And guys, that meant so much to me in my career and where I was going because I knew he wouldn't lie to me. He wouldn't BS to me. When I was bad or I said something wrong or was kind of off on a sideline report with the Browns or whatever, the one guy I knew who would be brutally honest with me was Joe Tait. Mike Snyder's been the same way with me as well, who I call my radio dad because he is my radio. I got the best father in the world, but Mike Snyder's the best second father I could ever have, just because he's steady, same way. But Joe Tait did that, and that blew me away. And then when I lost my job with the Browns doing sideline, let me take a sip of my cup of coffee here because I don't know what day it is. So, I was in the dumps, but, I'm an adult. I'm getting ready to get married. I found out that I was losing my job as a Brown sideline reporter. I had my nephews in my car, and I was taking them to Cedar Point, man. And I take that phone call, and I'm like, it was a punch in the gut. You lose a job. And the funny part is Brian Windhorst, who I graduated high school. We've known each other since we were 10, 11 years old. And I know we look so alike, and we look like we rock the same things.
Yeah, sure. You guys roll together all the time. Probably.
Absolutely. B is my boy, though, and I hear people talk shit about him, and I want to be like, leave Brian alone. Yeah. I played in the last baseball game he played in, and he broke his leg sliding into home into a catcher named Andre Knott.
Oh,
there we go.
But on the other hand, on Brian Windhorst, I'll tell you guys this. I've heard people talk shit about how he's gotten his jobs and why he's did this and done that. And it's so horseshit. You know why? When I was 16, 17 years old at St. V, scoring touchdowns, thinking I was big crap, I'll never forget. I was on the way to get my SATs. My dad's driving me after we had played Massillon. I had scored like 2 or 3 touchdowns or whatever else. So on the front cover of the sports page,
no big deal. Brush your shoulders off, Pip. No big deal.
Now you got to do it a little bit. You got to do a little bit. I got to let them know now, Chad. I got to let them know. Right. I had a little bit, but this busted the real world bubble. So my dad's driving the car, throws me the paper. I'd had a decent enough game. And I open up, and on the fold of the sports page, I open the paper up, and it's a write-up about our game against Massillon the night before. Brian Windhorst had wrote that.
Whoa, okay.
So when people say that kid has been busting it, I have headlines from Brian Windhorst when we were 14 years old in our local little West Side Leader. He was writing about me. We were in the same high school classes together. He was getting money from the Beacon Journal at 16, 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
So when I went to Kent to get into this business, I was blown away because I knew Brian was 10 times better than anybody in that class, and he was. Jason Lloyd was in those classes as well at Kent State. We had some talent. So anyway, like 2 weeks before I got fired with the Browns, Brian Windhorst and I, we were something, and it's not like we're best friends. We've just known each other forever. Our parents know each other, and he's like, dude, I'm so proud of you. He goes, that Browns job is perfect for you. You're going to do that. He goes, I just don't see you not doing that the rest of your life. Phone rang, and I told Brian, don't you, and I get let go. And we can get into why or how all that shit happened, because it's actually it's actually pretty, it's funny now for me, I guess. It sucks, but not now. Yeah. But the person that got me through it, obviously my parents, but Joe Tait. I was in a complete, I felt like shit. I felt, because the thing is with those type of jobs, I'm in one now. And I'm a realist. Like, I haven't left Northeast Ohio, man. I'm living the dream, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
And that's not bragging. I'm living a dream. I'll pinch myself. I can't believe I've worked these jobs. I can't believe it. I can't believe the people and the things I've seen with the teams I grew up with. I'm overblessed. So Tait saw me and he knew. But at the same time, you're in that business, and I'm still working. I'm still coming to Cavs games. I still work at TAM. I'm still working in STO. And all those companies have been great to me. STO kept me on Browns coverage. TAM, a matter of fact, the Browns kept me on their post-game show for 2 years after.
Right.
Them MFers must have been out of their mind, because I don't know how you fired me and they put me on the air still on your radio network, but they did.
Andre, we were just kidding, Andre. Can you
right. But really, that was to be honest with you guys, and I'm being honest because I like you guys. That was like taking an arrow and bashing it through my heart.
Yeah.
Hey, come to the Browns games. You can do the pre and post game, but you can't do the job that you're really good at. And they told me I was really good at it. They just said that they wanted to bring along some talent from within.
Huh?
That's called Eric.
Am I not already within?
Yeah,
I'm already within.
Yeah. Right.
I'm within.
Right. And I'm young. I'm younger than the person you gave the next job to. And that was really Eric Mangini wasn't comfortable with how comfortable players were with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's the best thing I do in my job now? Players are comfortable with me and willing
No. Nuh-uh.
Come on.
I mean, that's just how the world works, though. But
hot dogs are a different story. Hot dogs.
We'll get to that.
Get to that. Last picture of me in spring training last year is my son in mustard. Ain't that a bitch? But to wrap it up on Joe, because I love him, and I'm sorry I went like this with it, but Joe was everything, and this hurts. Joe pulled me to the side like he always did. And he says, Andre, you don't know how good you are and how much something means to you till they really take it away from you. He goes, you are fucking good. You are going to do great things. And he goes, it's the Browns' loss, not yours. And he goes, but next year you make sure, he goes, with that next job, you make sure that you're completely covered and you keep doing what you're doing so no one can ever backstab you like this again. If you don't know Joe Tait's story, he had the same thing when he went through it with the Cavs. I'm not comparing myself to Joe Tait. My point is, Joe was the perfect person to talk to me at that time. And then when I was able to go back and look at his history, I realized he was the guy that was able to put his arm around me when I needed it most. And he is the reason why I stayed professional. He is the reason why I was able to do those pregame and postgame shows from Brown Stadium and not on the air. You hear me change or whatever. And I believe he is the reason why I'm doing the job that I'm doing today, because I've had other opportunities. I've had other ways to do things. And he, and he's always just kind of told me, when you got a good thing and people really respect you and love you for what you're doing, don't go looking for that next thing so quickly. And so those are just words, Joe, and there's plenty of times where he told me I was a dumbass and other words that I won't bring up, but I love him and my thoughts and prayers to his family.
I got a quick Joe Fritchen story for you guys before we move on.
You know Fritch?
Remember in our initial messages, Andre, I told you I've worked at QTV for 11 years now, and so I never knew long-haired Joe Fritchen. So I only saw. I mean, for Mike to say he had a perm. Joe Fritchen right now. The Joe Fritchen I know has like my hairline, and he just wears. Can
you have something that's not there?
He just wears like a t-shirt and jeans. Yeah, there you go. He just wears like a t-shirt. Just wears like a t-shirt and jeans around the place, right? So one night, everybody goes, "Yeah, we're going to Joe Fritchen's show afterwards. It's at the Hi-Fi, the old club Billy Morris owned on Lakewood."
Yes.
So yeah, come on along. And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? This is like 4 years into my 11 years at the Q. So I'm like, yeah, sure. What kind of music? They're like, just come. So this motherfucker's in like a heavy metal band, like a heavy metal band.
Heavy.
And again, remember, my hairline, t-shirt, jeans. Joe Fritchen comes out, puts his foot up on the speaker. He has like these knee-high, like combat boots.
Yes.
And he has this like axe guitar that he's just grinding away. I'm like, holy shit.
Whole different dude.
Yeah, whole different dude on stage than he is down at the Q. So that's a funny. I love that you mentioned Joe Fritchen because I love that guy too, Andre. So
he's a good dude.
Quick Joe Fritchen story.
Yes. Yeah. Who knew that Joe Fritchen would be talked about in podcast but he deserves it, man. He's a good dude.
We're gonna have to let him know.
Yeah, he's getting an invoice. Sending him a bill.
No, dude, because of him, you're dealing with both of us.
Right, that's right.
Andre, For real though, thank you so much for opening up about Joe and about your relationship. And those are some real special stories that you shared with us, and we really appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about the job now, because you've been with the Indians for a while now, doing the on-field reporting. I have to say, last year was a hard year. We've talked to a lot of broadcasters. We've had Rosie. Rosie's coming on in a couple of weeks again. I haven't even.
Hey, when Rosie comes in, ask him why I'm always bringing up banana in the tailpipe.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm
I can't wait for that.
Banana tailpipe.
And I guarantee he cries, laughs, and says, "Time out."
We've talked to a lot of broadcasters. Tim Alcorn's our buddy here, and it was a hard year doing these games, and no fans, and a lot of broadcasters not traveling and all that. I have to say, of all of them, your job looked the most fun, in that I feel like I'd be watching every Indians game and they'd be like, all right, let's kick it down to Andre. And there's Andre with his feet up in the chair in front of him, just sitting somewhere in the lower bowl, just like relaxing, like I wanted to do at all times, just by myself at a game. It looked like you were kind of having a good time last year.
2020 was, it was different. It was hard.
Yeah.
Especially not going on the road. And we did, God bless my producers. Our guy Jim Murphy, he's a godsend. And I say that because I don't know if he knows anything about TV, but he knows how to massage some egos. And really, that's what it comes down to. He handles myself, Matt Underwood, and Rick Manning unbelievably. He knows how to, because the thing about baseball, nothing against the other sports. I'm strictly going to speak upon what we do, and just being around baseball guys daily. And I've been around them all. 100, whether you do 150 games, 60 games, it's just different because it's every single day.
Yes.
And look, in life, like you guys love doing this podcast, and it's fun. You guys drink a beer together, you have a good time, you're laid back. It's especially in this time, it's awesome way to connect with people. So most of the time you like it. But if I made you guys do this every single day, 5 days of the week at 7:00, Saturday at 4, Sunday at 1. It's gonna be a couple of days. You're gonna come in and you're gonna be an asshole and not really want to be there, right? You got other stuff going on in life. The last thing you want to do is like mentally put stuff together. Whether your kid's doing this, or your aunt's sick, or your neighbor cut off your wife, whatever. It happens. And the one thing with Rick Manning, and he's always said this as being a ball player, he's like, dude, when you and this is kind of a Tito thing too. When you walk in the door, you got to leave whatever's going on, and you got to be the same person day in and day out. And we try that. We really do. I know I do. I think what happened last year, I thought we did two different broadcasts last year, to be honest with you, Mike. I thought our road broadcast, we kind of became almost a talk show almost a little bit. Like a game was going on in the background because we were sitting in the studios. We weren't there. We couldn't hear, like we were watching what you were watching and talking about it.
Crazy.
After we did a couple games, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, I know Underwood was kind of just like, this is where I give credit to the guys I work with, man. This is a very ego-filled business.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ego is so huge in this, and it gets a lot of people in trouble. And our play-by-play guy and our color analyst went to our producer and said, open up Dre's mic, make him a part of this. We need him. Let Dre in. Let Dre be himself. We want, and I'll say this, Rick Manning's been saying that for 4 years. Rick's like, open up Dre's fucking mic and let's go. and I appreciate that. And that didn't happen overnight, but they trust me. And I guess what happens is, we have dinner every night together. Like we sit together, we're together for the first, an hour and a half before a game. And we've grown into, I'll tell you, there are people that know, like, you want to have some fun before a ball game? Come find our group or our table when we're allowed to be back like that. And it's no holds bars. We talk about each other. We talk about the game. It's the best.
Yeah.
And I think for our group, we're like, Rick was kind of like, we need that on the air. Let us do this on the air. And I'll admit, the suits aren't always, they want to control everything. And like I said, Murph, our producer, is an awesome dude because he deals with upper management, and our broadcast became so entertaining last year. Surprisingly entertaining. I say surprisingly because nobody knew what the hell we were doing. But we did it. You know what I mean? And like people were like, we were getting mad. And like, and there were people, I remember there was an older guy that like, you know, reached out to the playing dealer that nobody reads. That was mean because I still read it.
Fair.
But you know, some guy wrote in and was like, this is not how I want to watch my pass. You know, like that guy, you know, the guy that blowing it. Yeah, but for the most part, people like that. And we got to show each other's personalities last year. Matt is a historian. He loves finding historic things. And trust me, sometimes we call it the nerd moment in the background, or we go, oh, he's getting nerdy. but rather than mock that, and rather than I wasn't saying it like that on the air, but like I know that he puts time into it, and he started finding stories that we were connecting things, and we were doing things that I loved our broadcast last year. They were different. And then the home ones, when you're talking about me with my feet up, I mean,
yeah,
I'm the only dude. I'm the only dude in Progressive Field. Like, why would I not be? Like hell yeah,
right. Everybody's dream right there.
Right, absolutely.
Every time they kicked it to you, I was like, that guy is getting paid for this, and I love it.
But the players see it too. Like everybody, they're like, "Look at you!" And my thing that I always say, if I'm getting caught looking like that, I better have some good stuff to say.
That's right. That's right.
Like I don't want at the end of the day, people are like, "That jackass got way too comfortable." I look comfortable, but trust me. And the thing I had going last year, I had an iPad with one game over here. I had our TV screen with the TV broadcast here. I had my lunch like an 8th grader right here.
Listen,
I imagine a whole row.
I imagine the camera bays get a little sweaty and crowded sometimes.
Yeah, I miss that though, man, because that's like my little area right there, man. I hope I'm back this year. At some point, hopefully, I will be. But you guys got to get a little. You guys got a glimpse of what's really going on below the waist. Last year, I don't know what it's going to be like this year. We're still having meetings about that. We're still trying to figure out exactly how, where, and how. But I hope that some of the things that we had in our broadcast last year, I'm hoping and believing that we'll be able to bring with us this year.
You know, it's funny. You've talked a lot about your team there, and you know, we've talked about Joe Tait. Joe Tait told us a great story about when he first started with Rick Manning, because they were the broadcast team for a while there, and he said Rick Manning had the worst grammar and the worst grasp of the English language, is basically the way he put it. And so next time you're talking to Rick, talk to him about the time Joe Tait put an elbow into his side and knocked him off his chair.
Oh, I can't wait.
And they basically couldn't call an inning because they were laughing so hard because Tait knocked him right off his chair.
Dude, some of our best moments I'm not allowed to talk about. I mean, I'm really I can't.
We'll take him out. We'll take him out if you want, Andre.
There is a man. We have a good time. I mean, I want to tell you guys, but I can't tell you because just so. No, it's like, because I'm trying to trust me. I'm going through my mind. There's more than one, but there is one. There is one that most people had no idea how, what, and where. But if you knew exactly how bad I'd messed up and what was really going through my mind, you'd put me in the Hall of Fame for not saying bad words on the air. Because I kind of did, but I didn't. It was a bad word, like amongst our group. And I'll just put it that way. And
Kobe.
our producer,
Kobe.
Yeah, nope. And Kobe. Kind of like that, Chad. And Jim Murphy in my head goes, and this is like before the opening of the game. Before the opening of the game, he's like, Dre, you know, he pulls. He's like the the head coach in our heads before kickoff, and he's like, it's top of the hour. We're gonna come back with Al and Jensen. We're gonna come back with the open. We're come back with Al and Jensen. Al and Jensen are gonna give us yesterday's blah blah blah. They're gonna throw it to Dre. Dre's gonna break down our pitching matchup, and he's got a quote from Carl Willis on Shane Bieber being of the team's rotation. Anybody got any questions? Nobody says anything. And then he just turns in my mic and he's like, Dre, make sure you say pillar and not Pilar, like Kevin Pillar.
Oh yeah, the Pilar.
Right. So I said Pilar. And, and just, I think we had to go to break and couldn't start the game. Like, it was that funny. And you could dig me underneath. You could see me digging because I'm a Pilar. And then Lindor, the shortstop, comes over and chest bumps me, and I'm still. and he's like, you all right, homie? And I'm like, like so bad that the players that were back in the back that were watching the TV, they're all texting or coming out. You all right, dude? What the hell was that?
Don't say Pilar. Don't say Pilar. And the Pilar of this
Pilar.
Yeah. So I was talking to before we came out here. I was talking to my father-in-law, who is also Joey's dad, John. And we're all huge Tribe fans. I said, all right, what do I got to ask about Andre Knott? And so it's the same question. If I went to any Indians fan that watches Tribe games on STO and said, what do you want us to ask Andre Knott about? All they're going to say is this. It's going to be the same answer over and over again. What's the best story you have? What's the best prank they've done to you? Because the Indians love messing with you. The players love messing with you. What's the best prank? And then I one-upped him and I said, the other one I want to know is what's the best prank you heard about that they didn't pull off?
Ooh, the worst. I'll start from the worst.
Yes.
Yeah. Cookie Carrasco. I love Carlos.
Yeah.
I love Carlos more as a person than a baseball player, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But I think you get my drift.
For sure.
He always wanted to one up just everything, Like that's just his thing. Like and I don't think I don't know, it was on TV. He popped an egg on my head in Kansas City and it was like 90 degrees. And it was the one time I got pissed. I was pissed.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to fucking fight. And that ain't no Kobe. Put that on. And he knew it. And he knew it because Sandy Alomar went, because he tried to come up to me and hug me. And I was like, and I said, get the F away from me. And he was like, I just can't. I can't. And Sandy Alomar came to him and was like, that was disrespectful, dude. That shit wasn't funny. And Sandy jumped him, and a couple other players jumped him. And Cookie was like, we all play. We love him. And I got back to my room that night, and there were 10 warm cookies. There were 5 chocolate chip warm cookies. Hey. And an apology and a bottle of something waiting for me, apologizing to me.
Man.
And then Cookie was like, and I owe you on your clothes. He was like, so even in the worst ones, I couldn't, I was still pissed, but I couldn't be pissed. Yeah. And because Sandy came to me after the game, and Sandy and I had a beer or whatever after the game, and he was just like, I told him that. He goes, I told him that was wrong. He goes, I talked to a bunch of guys, Lindor, and I'm not saying this to put down Cookie. He went a little too far. And anybody that likes to bust balls, anybody that likes to tell jokes, we've all gone too far.
I'm that guy. So you're speaking directly I'm always that guy that does that one thing that just over the line a little bit. And I'm like, I didn't mean for it to be over the line. I was just messing around. I was just having fun. But yeah, you are talking to me because I can feel that. I know exactly how Cookie felt right there. Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh no. I didn't mean for this to be bad.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I know. I get it.
So that's what happened there. The best one that happened, and I gotta be, to me, they're all great. Salazar one time wrapped me up in tape live on air. There's been stuff that's happened, man. And you guys see most of them. Yeah. There's a lot of crap. Tito one time took his wad. We were in St. Louis during a rain delay. This became like an MLB thing, and Chris Rose and those guys are texting me and calling me. They're like, dude, is it all right if we put this on TV? I'm like, you already did.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So it was getting ready to be a rain delay. And we're in St. Louis. And in St. Louis and Cincinnati and Texas, I am literally 5 feet from Tito, which is good and bad.
Oh yeah.
So, I hear certain things I've never heard before that I will not and I've seen I've heard, and he'll talk to me during games somewhat, and then there's times I'll look at me and I look away because I know I'm not supposed to hear. It's like you're being around your parents when they start yelling at each other and talking about how much they hate each other. Then you just kind of act like you don't hear it. So in St. Louis a couple years ago, I'm on the air and they had nowhere to put me because it's raining, and we're kind of in this rain delay, but it's just happening. So the whole clubhouse or the whole dugout is still full. So I'm Matt and Rick are up here and I'm talking. And I'm all right, well, down here, looks like from the, what they've told me, blah, 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 umpire walks by, and I just feel black. And I just hear Matt go, oh, my God. I can just hear and I'm like, all right, people I'm around these guys every day. So who knows what just, I'm like, whatever. And like, but then I'm like, should I feel this? And Tito, it took a wad of gum and chew.
Oh.
And just on the top of my head.
Oh my gosh.
That gum chew wad I don't know how that happens.
I don't either.
I don't know.
Have you ever gotten anybody back? Like, is it reciprocal? Yeah, there we go. There we go.
That's the beauty of this. It's the beauty of this. Okay, here's the best that I got back. So like in my first couple of years, because Corey Kluber was the headliner of this, and I love Klubes. Klubes and I end up having a really good friendship. I end up becoming like he has his Kluber Foundation, helps kids out. And my wife has a business that helps special needs kids, and he knew that. So I kind of became the MC of the Kluber Foundation when he was here in Cleveland. And I'll never forget Josh Tomlin, like during hooting and hollering during the show, the first year. He's hooting and hollering during the show. Everybody, this is in 2017. So it was right after the win streak. Josh, and everybody showed up and literally you got the money of Cleveland all in this room with the Cleveland Indians, and it's in September. So this is like, they had just won, the win streak and everything else. And Tomlin had a couple, and I can say this because I text with Josh Tomlin still daily. And he had a couple, and I said, F it. It became a roast.
Oh, no.
And, and to the point that my wife started looking at me like enough. And I didn't cuss, but I just put it all out there. Tomlin kept, and I was like, hey, Josh, I've got the mic up here. I'll tell everybody about your 4.45 ERA and how your neck hurts from all those home runs. You keep this up. And Kipnis is dying. Like the whole room, everybody is like, Brad Hannon just came over to the team and he's like, oh my God. And so they're all just they're like, oh my God. Cause I was being nice. I was introducing each player. I was like, I even remember Eric Haas just the day before on a Sunday, he had picked up his first major league hit. So I'm trying to be professional. And I just hear this jackass messing with me. And I look up and I snapped. And I was just like, JT, I got the mic. I go, this ain't a game. And I go,
God.
And I had to go to Kluber's wife at midway through. And I'm like, is this all right? And she's like, she was like, no, this is the most hilarious thing ever. You're fine. Because my wife the whole time is sitting at the table with the Klubers. And his agent and his with the money, and I come back to eat dinner, I come back to eat my steak that's been sitting there, and and I'm kind of woo, I was feeling myself, and then I kind of sit down and my wife's like, you're such an asshole, and so I'm like, yeah, so that worked out. It was one, so that one, and there's the one other. So Kluber, he was just quiet about it. So in the pregame, we used to have pitchers on in the pregame because most of the time, everyday players don't have time 20 minutes before first pitch to come on a live pregame show. Well, it became a thing because they messing with me, messing with everybody. The pitchers wouldn't come on because I found out that if I promoted, hey, if I promote Carlos Carrasco, come on the pregame show with me. If I put it on Twitter, if they heard it, they got an arsenal. They'd get the guns out, the water guns, powder, you name it, and they would just destroy the interview. The interview was about me. It was just they're going to destroy and embarrass the guy. And you guys have seen the video. Everybody's seen the clips of Kluber trying to talk seriously to me, and they're pointing. So it's the end of the year, and I'm like, Klubes. I'm like, please, I got to get you on one. By this time, though, he didn't know that I knew, and he was like, I will come on. He goes, but you cannot promo it. Your station can't promo it. He goes, I'll just sneak out, walk out, and come out there. He goes, don't even tell Bart, who was our PR guy. He goes, but I'm in. He goes, you can tell him I'm in, but don't tell anybody.
Oh, man.
As I walk out of the room, I text Josh Tomlin, doing that shit tomorrow at 4:45. It became bad.
It was a problem.
Yeah, we got soaked. If there's been it was just it was full Armageddon. And instantly Kluber was like, you told him. And I was like, what do you mean? And I go, at the end, I was like, it was like the last week of the season. And I'll never forget being like, I got you.
Love it. I love it. It's awesome to watch the good time and the way the players take to you, and it makes for good interviews after the game. I mean, they're happy to talk to you too. So let's talk about this season. And one of the exciting things we're happy to have you on about, Andre, is let's get us excited for the season. Let's not we don't want to blow smoke here. We've talked about it several times on this podcast. This was a tumultuous offseason between the Lindor trade, which I know there's a million reasons for, but it's not great to trade the face of your franchise. Even if you feel like you have to, it's not great.
Right.
You now have Lindor's doing this. I don't think it's that bad, but there's this like Kyrie.
Here, I'll give it. Let me have that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't take this, but I'm gonna take this.
Take it.
I want to say it the right way, because in knowing Francisco, the way I know Francisco.
Thank you for not being lazy.
I'm gonna call his ass. I text him. I'll show you the text. I text him that day. Frankie.
And that's not lazy. That takes work to text that.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
Remember how you too far sometimes? Me too.
Yeah.
I think what Frankie is going through, because I'm gonna call him Frankie because he told me I could call him Frankie when I asked him what he wanted me to call him 6 years ago. Actually, like 7-8 years ago. I don't have anything against Frankie. I think what he's going through, and him and I'm not smarter, better, bigger than anyone else. Francisco's learning. He over the last year and a half, he's gone through. I always tell people when they ask me about athletes, or what people don't understand about athletes most. And I always say they don't understand that they're normal human beings like the rest of us. No matter how many times you see them hit home runs, score touchdowns, dunk, they are normal human beings that go through the same things that we go through on a different scale, on a different way, but they go through the same emotions and feelings. And Lindor right now is going through so much that life isn't nearly as easy for him as it always has been, but it always has been pretty easy for him. And he's a good dude. He works his ass off. He's not a bad person. He's not. Right. But he's going through some my wife and I talk about stretch marks, not in that way. My wife played my wife played soccer in college. I played sports in college. And we've always, in my wife's business, she started in the basement in Lakewood of our apartment. Yeah. And now she's got a pretty decent business going on. That's really good. And I always talk about in hard times in her business, when there's those moments of this is either going to break me or it's going to make me. I always call those the stretch marks, because when I used to work out and have bigger arms, you would get them. And that's, but that's my point. Like when you start spreading that skin a little bit, like if you're doing it right and it's building muscle, you're going to be all right with it. It looks good. But when but if you don't, and you get lazy and that's bad. I think Frankie is going through that right now, Mike. He doesn't know exactly. And I think the whole Frankie Francisco thing, I will pat myself on the back for this. I will pat Jim Rosenhaus on the back for this. I will pat Tom Hamilton, Rick Manning, all of us, Matt Underwood. We have we're good, and we take care of our guys. We get to know our guys. We go out of our way to ask our guys about their families, where they're from, who they are. Tom Hamilton is genius at this. I see him do it with the 28th guy and the way he does it with the number 1 guy. So you know who you're talking to. So when we're doing these broadcasts, we can tell you guys who they are, what's motivated them, what's got them certain places. And we know what we do, and we do this, what we know what's for air and what's not for air. You don't have to tell us on the record, off the record. We know when something's kind of that may stir up shit. We'll keep it in the back pocket. I think because Frankie and I had this running thing going for a long time. He'd always say certain things would happen. He was like, "I'm just making you a star. I'm just bringing you along." And it was like him. It was him being cocky, being funny. And I would always go, like, literally, and I'd go. And so we ran into this thing over the last couple of years of telling each other, "You gonna miss me when you gone." Right now, Frankie's missing me while he's gone. I think these New York guys. I literally do. I think these New York guys, no offense to them, and if they got a problem with it, they know where to find me. These guys are all trying to learn who he is, and they're all trying to break stories. And it's a rat race right now between all of them. It's a rat race to have the newest, freshest thing about Lindor that you don't have. Yeah. And that's the sides. You have conversations without a microphone on, and suddenly he's like, and I know how Frankie is. He's like, oh, they were just lazy. and saying, hey, call me Francisco. I want to be Francisco. I wasn't there, but I would bet a games check almost on, because I know I've had these conversations with him where he says shit, and I'm like, are you sure that's like where I'll come back to him and be like, I can say that if you want me to. And, and he'll be like, nah, and I think he's dealing with, we were trustable. He could try, and I know it's not a word, but you guys know what I mean. There's certain people.
For sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just think he's going through that, man. He's going through, okay, he said he wants to be the face of baseball. He says this, and then you got a kid in San Diego that's becoming the face of baseball.
Yeah.
He became a father last year. His mom had an aneurysm last year. He's taking care of a lot of his family for a lot of time. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling the truth. The kid got put in front of the cameras. He had never voted before in his whole life. And now he's telling people to vote, and he's trying to figure out how to vote. He's talking about Black Lives Matters and social things that he understands, but he doesn't truly understand. But you're putting him front and center to speak on all of these things. So I guess what I'm saying, any craziness that I hear from him in New York over the next 6 months, I'm going to take with a grain of salt, because I know there's way more to the picture.
Yeah, I thought the Frankie lazy, that one was weird to me, because I was like, whatever, who cares? The rest of it, though, again, to me, it sounds like he's trying to make an impression with his new city and his new team. And he's saying, like, hey, I can be better than what I was. And maybe I wasn't giving my all in the weight room. Or this whole thing that came out this week, the nap in Game 7. Shit, I want to take a nap like all the time.
All the time. Me too.
Like,
and there's guys that nap all the time during games. That's the problem. Yeah. Like, there's like guys nap all the time. Like, why would you not? Who doesn't like a good nap?
I know you're the same. Chad's the same. Joe will get there one day. I have a 3-year-old running around up in this house somewhere. All I want to do is take a nap.
Absolutely.
So if you doze off during a rain delay after 180 games or whatever, yeah, it happens.
And those games took forever.
I think you brought a really good perspective into. There's also people in New York trying to break stories about the new star in New York with their team that they're really interested in getting that word out. And maybe Frankie should be a little bit more cognizant of what he's saying because of that. But
what I would tell Frankie, and I've kind of told him this, Mike, shut up and go play, bro. And I mean that, like, I would say that, like I said that as a friend. I'm like, dude, let him just go play. Right. Just go play. And I get he's trying to sell shoes and all that other shit. And he wants to be Michael Jordan. He wants to be LeBron James, and God bless him. God has given him a lot of talent that he may be able to. And all I keep saying is just go play baseball and stop worrying about all this other stuff, because you can't win doing all the other stuff.
Right. And you hear so much about the New York media and everything that they run with. And it's just kind of like, yeah, just go play and let that show, and then maybe get to know them later.
Right. What we know. Yeah. But what we know from 6 years of being around him, all of us, you fall way more in love with just watching him play.
Yeah, for sure.
Than anything else. You can love the interviews. You can love the smile and all that other crap. You love him the most because of what he did 162 days out of the year.
So obviously the tumult that came with him leaving. And then obviously there's this controversy going on, Mickey Callaway, and now that's found its way back to the Indians. It's been
that Mickey Callaway shit is Mickey Callaway shit. Mickey at this point in time, like, I understand how media works nowadays. But that story is really more Mickey, isn't it?
It is mostly Mickey. I would say it's mostly all the bad stuff. We said this on the podcast. I think we all made this point on the podcast. All the bad stuff that was done was Mickey Callaway. But there's certainly a perception of this got back to people, and it maybe got swept under. And I don't know what the truth or the fact, we didn't dive into all that because we weren't in the rooms when all that stuff happened. The fact of the matter is, in this offseason, you've lost the face of your team, even though you have other faces of the team. You've had this Mickey Callaway thing get back. We now are looking at a drastic, especially if you factor over the last 3 years, this dramatic payroll cut that, we get told that just has to happen, and whatever. It is what it is. What we need from you, Andre, we need to talk about this team for a minute. And we need to hear why this Cleveland Indians team, this 2021 Cleveland Indians team, that's going to have some new faces, that's going to have some old faces, why we need to be excited about this team. So we just kind of broke it up into the 3 sections. So we started with the lineup. And I'm going to be honest with you. I wrote this down and I went, I think I might like this lineup better than I did last year's.
Me too. The night that they signed Eddie Rosario.
Yeah. God,
I text Matt Underwood. Eddie. Oh. Kobe. I like Eddie. Cleveland's gonna like Eddie.
Well, yeah, I've hated him.
Cleveland's gonna, and I'm just saying we got to be around Eddie and his family when we went to Puerto Rico with the Indians a couple of years ago. They're gonna fit in. He's a fun guy. That's all. And he plays hard. And I know from being around pitchers during games, he may not be Francisco Lindor. He may not be Carlos Santana by name. But I know what pitchers and clubhouses you kind of fear when he comes up because you know the guy will swing at anything. And that puts a different fear into pitchers and catchers because most hitters, there is a game plan to get rid of them. Like there are a million times I've sat with Mike Clevenger, or I've sat with Kluber, or I've sat with Cookie, and I'm like, or I've sat with one of our catchers, and I'm like, dude, how do you get this dude out? And instantly they're like, and it was awesome to be around. Even Bauer and I did this a ton. And they would tell me things, and I would know when the game was on the line how they would get guys out.
Yeah.
I would ask them that about Rosario, and they would all look at me and go, just throw it down the middle of the plate and hope he doesn't hit it. I think a guy that's averaged what he's averaged and what he's done, he's the perfect thing to put in this lineup right now and hopefully take some pressure off of the younger guys. Look, they're going to need some breakthroughs. They're going to need some Bobby Bradley breakthroughs. They're going to need some – I think Jimenez is going to – Andre Jimenez is going to – he's not going to be Frankie, but who the hell is Frankie? But I think the kid is talented. I think he's really talented. And I know there's other talented up the middle guys coming. But his hands are great. I'm not going to compare him to Lindor. I'm not going to compare him to Omar. But this kid's got some talent, man. Yeah. He's going to make some plays. He's going to do some things that make you go, wow. Yeah. I like the lineup. I like Cesar. I like Jose as my guy of guys. I think we have a chance to see Reyes hit 40.
Come on.
Yeah, why would you not? And my man Bebo lost 20 more pounds. He's got no ass. Ask him where his culo was at. True story. I'm not making stuff up. It's all real. I think he's primed. He's primed to come back, and if he can hit 240 and hit 20 home runs, I think this lineup has a chance to be fun and more athletic.
So I got a two-part question about this lineup here, Andre. To me, I'm of the opinion that now I know you're going to go through lulls in the course of a 162 game season, but to me, these last few years, it's kind of a wait and see for me for the lineup because it just seems to me that this lineup is always just so inconsistent and streaky. Like I always compared them to the Eli Manning of professional baseball. You know how like Eli would throw for 450 and 5 touchdowns at one game, and then throw for like 159 yards and 4 picks the next game. So I don't know if that thing changes, if how that changes or
I got an answer for this.
Gives us confidence to do that. And then, okay, yeah, answer it. And then I got another one right after this.
Good. I'm gonna do the thing I hate, but I'm gonna do it. Okay. I'm gonna answer a question by asking a question, then I'll get to it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because baseball is funky. And I like what you're talking about, Eli Manning. I get that completely. And I'll take that because that's 2 championships, and I thought he sucked.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. How many other baseball teams do you watch as closely as you watch the Indians? And I'm not being a smartass as I ask this.
You
might watch a lot.
One other one.
Who is that?
The Astros.
Okay. No. That's fair.
Yeah.
This is the one thing I've learned in 7 years doing this Indians thing. We rank or get down on our players that we see every day way more than we do the guys we see just in a 3-game series or 4-game series or every once in a while. I know what you're saying, Chad, and it's one of those sayings that Tito says that makes me want to choke him, but it's true.
Yeah.
Guys always get to their numbers, and it's always like and at first I used to be like, that's a horseshit way of getting out of answering a question. Yeah. But it's not.
No,
because guys usually find a way to get to their numbers. Yes. And what I'm getting at with the question, and you can continue on, because we watch every single at bat, it's irritating. And when a guy's only going to hit 280, so that means 72% of the time we're going to see him fail. And I know some guys fail looks better than other guys fail, right? Like some guys fail, some guys at bats, you're just like, this guy sucks. I think baseball's a hard one. I get what you're saying. I want more consistency early. I wish they would hit behind hitters better. I wish we didn't have to go back and forth and yell and fight on Twitter about punting or not to bunt or to bunt. It's all a part of this, right? It's all a part of it. Chad, I'm with you. I hope, and the word that I use that I hope works better, I think because they're more athletic, I hope and pray that you won't have as much downtime with the hitting because of it. Meaning you can manufacture runs. Okay. You can go from first to third. You can, you do those things. You're not sitting waiting for a 3-run homer. When you sit and wait for a 3-run homer, you don't got a lot of boppers. It's ugly baseball, and we've had
that. Yeah. Well, hopefully the doctoring the baseballs to not go as far. Maybe we can hit more for average this year.
I hope.
But
and with our pitching staff, that will work.
Bobby Bradley's having a hell of a spring. Andres Jimenez having a hell of a spring. My question is, how much how say an NFL preseason, how there's always like a stud you're like trying to pay attention to that you didn't think of. I guess how much can we take from baseball having when guys having good springs to where that translates into the regular season? How much can we take from a guy having a good spring to give us confidence going forward into the season?
That's a good question. Because I'm still figuring it out. The way I would say it is, have they done it consistently? Like Daniel Johnson is one I'll give you. He's had two springs out. I can't wait till he becomes one of our guys. He's going to. I just don't know.
Former guest of the podcast.
Really? You guys got Jeff?
Yeah.
I love that dude. He's going to be a stud. And he's done it now 2 springs in a row, right? Yes. And with Bobby Bradley, my thing that I'm going to watch over the next 2 weeks, we know he's got power. We know he can pull the ball to right field. Has he becoming a better hitter and flare that ball to left field when he has to? Can he let the curveball get in deep, muscle it over the second baseman's heads? I think you concentrate on what are these guys hitting out? What are they doing? A lot of these guys jump fastballs as they should early in spring training and put up gaudy numbers. But I just think it's consistency of at-bats, and you watch how they're getting pitched. Daniel had a game last week where he hit 2 home runs. I'm going to be interested, and I'll be watching over the next two weeks, how teams pitch to him and how he reacts to it, because he is going to be a stud. I just don't know when. I hope it's sooner than later, but I know the Indians aren't in rushing guys. And I think Bobby Bradley's at that point right now where he's knocking on the door saying, I am a big leaguer. It's time for me to play every day.
That's what I was going to ask. Who's your pick?
God, wait, stop. Joey, I'm just glad to hear your voice.
I know. I'm in.
Joey time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joey. My bad.
No, you're good. Who's your pick this year for coming up and having not immediate impact, but someone that's coming up and maybe making a name for themselves in the team this year?
Yeah. Well, I think Daniel and Bobby are obviously up top. I think those two are right there. They're capable of doing it. Gabriel Reyes. All right, I just want to put it this way. It may not be this year, but he looks like a star.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say.
Right.
I love it.
That's all. He looks like it. I don't know if he is. I don't know. I know he's only 21, but he has and you guys will know what I mean. He has the look, and he's played that way so far. And when we asked Franmil Reyes, we were just randomly talking. Franmil brought his name up. And I was like, well, what do you like about him so much? And he was like, go watch him. He's like, his arm, how he walks, how he swings. That's the guy I'm going to say.
All right. Well, I think fans are going to have to watch spring training a little bit, and they're going to have to wait a little bit because I think he got optioned today.
He did, but he still might play in some games. Hey, and we're actually going to be on TV next week with our own reporters.
Let's go.
Nice.
Let's go. I know what I'm doing.
You're starting us on St. Patrick's Day. Same week I do a podcast with a bunch of people drinking beer.
Let's go.
Right, so this
lineup.
Catcher, third base, second base, and actually right field. That's a crazy thing. After these years of these outfield spots just being, no offense to the guys that played there, I was the biggest. I'm a Texas A&M Aggie. I love Tyler Naquin. But it was a bit of a disaster in that outfield. You never knew who was going to take what spot and whatever. Now it looks like you've got a left fielder and a right fielder. Like that, those positions are locked down. Josh Naylor, to me, is that guy. If he can turn into an anywhere near a version of, and I hate to say this because I don't mean it in the multiple all-star. I'm just saying as a guy, a Michael Brantley, a guy that's just smacking doubles and hitting for average. That's what he looks like to me. So hopefully he does that. So you've got these positions squared away. DH obviously locked up. It looks like Andres Jimenez locked up. But you've got questions. So first base, the question is, you've got Bobby Bradley, who is tearing it up in spring training, but you also have Jake Bauers, who is out of options. Yeah. So it's now or never for Jake Bauers.
It is. And Jake Bauers, to me, he's a good dude. He put a lot of pressure on himself, obviously, last year to make it. And he's got to find a way to overcome that. In my eyes, I know, like in Scout's eyes, Bauers has that George Brett look, the All-American kid look. Like he's got size, looks, he looks the part. He looks good.
Dreamy.
Very dreamy is a good word. He's got to make that dreamy.
Just a man rocket.
Yeah, but that don't do shit when I got two guys on and I need you to run the ball. Kobe. But he could win. He could possibly win a Gold Glove too.
Right.
That's going to be interesting how they do that. And I want to say a thing about the Naylor thing. I think not only could Naylor, I think Naylor has a chance to become a heartbeat of the team. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean the best player,
right?
You know what I'm like. I think you saw it in the playoff games, and I'm just not riding on the playoff games. He plays with an emotion that I like, and I think that becomes a part of the like. Here's the deal, Jose Ramirez. We could do a whole podcast. However long we've been talking, I could do a whole podcast.
I bet. I'm sure.
Like that's my guy, and we barely I can't wait. Like when COVID is over. That's the first dude I will have a long handshake, long hug with, and we'll probably punch each other in the head or smack each other in the head when we walk away. And I can't wait for it. And he hits me hard as shit, and his hands feel like steel. He's got the most calloused hands of all time. I don't think he's ever had lotion on him. He brings up element, like when you play with him, I've talked to guys. Like I remember when Adam Simber came here before game, and Adam Simber, long hair, nicest guy ever. He comes over to put his hand out to shake to Jose to be like, all right, have a good game, buddy. And Jose comes over and whack, just like, hey, and I remember looking at, and I remember like going to our camera guy. I was literally like, go back and find the film, look at Simber's face. And I remember we like went back and had it, and Simber was literally just like, and it was like that. Welcome to the Indians, bitch.
Yes.
So I think Ramirez, Naylor. I think Naylor will be a good. He'll be a good energy to take off of Jose too, because Jose's only so many people want to go. Do you guys remember the games we had last year against the Twins? And remember the relief pitch Romo, and Ramirez stood at the top of the dugout and just stared him down and just yapped.
Mm-hmm.
And because there was nobody in the stadium, and you could hear me chuckling the whole time on the air, I'm cackling like an 80-year-old woman because I know what Jose's doing. I know Jose is just lighting their ass up, and half of it you can't even understand, but you know it's Jose's voice, and you know he's over another side just peering at you. And he does it to certain teams, and like most people don't get it because you don't see it or hear it enough.
For sure.
But it's the best thing in my job, hearing Jose just needle people to the point where I remember the Brewers had a guy that was like a rookie last year, and he really didn't know if Jose wanted to fight, or if he was just playing. And literally got over to third base with 3 outs, and Jose saw him and smiled and put his hand out. it was kind of like, and I could see the kids in the face. He was like, oh, okay,
good, all right.
I think it was Luis.
Instant relief. Yeah.
Yes. He was like, I don't want to fight that dude. So I hope those two guys kind of become the engine that kind of stirs everything.
So then the biggest question obviously becomes, what the hell is going to happen in center field?
I used to be able to play. Hey, let me see something. Let me see if I can text Kenny Lofton.
Yeah. Bring him.
K-Love would love to.
Round
3. You're in Arizona. You might just drive down.
I would hit him up. No, I'm saying that. Look, Bradley Zimmer is talented as hell, but I do think he needs more at bats. He just hasn't hit that much recently. Oscar, there's something about Oscar. If you put him in, like Rick Manning had this, and Rick Manning is, even though Joe Tait was right about what he said about his English, there are some innate things about baseball that, like, I've had the pleasure in working with Rick Manning and Doug Deacon, And neither one of those guys, you would, if you on first hearing them, you wouldn't put down in the Hall of Fame. But they are Hall of Famers, and how they see things in their own game and in their own sport that no one has been able to touch on for me or help.
Sure.
And the one thing that Rick is big on with Oscar, and I think he's right, when Oscar was, and I think the Indians want this to be completely 100% honest with you. When Oscar came up and they put him in the lineup between Lindor and between Ramirez, and he got to see a lot of fastballs, kid played his ass off.
Yeah.
They started moving him around last year because they brought in Hernandez, which made sense. And he got pitched differently because teams saw what he could do with a fastball. And he admitted early in spring training, mentally it killed him. I think again, if Tito can put him in a 2-hole between Hernandez and Ramirez, they're hoping you get the same results. If he can get a lot of fastballs, a lot of fastball counts, grow in his confidence, and go back to being that guy, he can go get it. Zimmer could be a Gold Glover. He can go get it. Now, the wild card in all of this is Ahmad Rosario.
Yes.
Who can fly. Look, it's amazing to me. I've asked 5 different players about Rosario, and number one, they all they're like his tools. He's as toolsy as it gets. But they're all like, he is fast as hell. They're like, wait till you see him run the bases. I don't know if he can play center field, but I know what I'll be watching starting over the next few days. And once I get an email that says I can leave this damn room,
yes.
I'm literally going to my email to check right now. They still ain't. Nope, I'm still stuck.
Not clear.
So that's what I would say about center field. If all those don't work, I'm bringing K-Love back.
Man, if I could send you a beer through a Zoom call, man, I would do it for you. Just
One
stuck in that room.
All
right, so obviously offensively, we're going to see. I like the lineup on paper, but it depends on how does the shortstop, how does Jimenez take over? What happens in center field? Does a guy like Josh Naylor come into his own, in the outfield and all that? The pitching, it's been fun already to watch. It's already fun to watch. Obviously, Bieber is going to be that guy. Right. But you've got Plesac, who's been amazing, and he'll come back being amazing. They've talked a lot about how they've changed the mechanics for Savali, and his mechanics now look a lot more like Bieber's and Plesac's.
Yeah.
That angle of his arm coming through, and all of a sudden Savali's like lighting it up down there. You got Tristan McKenzie. Who do you think takes that last spot? We got Cal Quantrill. You got Plutko down there. Who's that number 5 guy?
I think Quantrill is going to be – I like all the stuff you said about the other guys. I want to say something about Plesac, but I don't want to be that guy.
Uh-oh.
This might be –
Is that a Kobe? Is that another Kobe?
Nah, this ain't no Kobe.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I call him the nickname between Zach and I love Zach. I call him the Pinky Ring King. That's because he wears a pinky ring. And I'm
yes. Yes. We are using that every time we recap a game.
Please do. And he'll have that ring on. I've given too many stories, but I'll give another one real quick. I think Quantrill is a guy that, to answer your question, Quantrill. I think he has Logan Allen.
Yes.
And I don't know if Logan Allen's going to make the team, but I think the light bulb has clicked for him.
Yes.
And it's amazing. Like these dudes, like the Indians, what they're doing with pitching is, you guys know it, you're watching.
It's crazy.
But it's amazing that now you're getting these talented pitchers that come over to the organization, and they're like, please tell me everything you got.
Yes.
I love that. And both Logan Allen has literally been like, he's been here all year. And I've stayed in touch with him. We chat here and there. He's got confidences out of this world. He's lost weight. He's lefty and can throw 95, 96. He's got a slider now that he's working to that back toe that comes out and tunnels out of the same way as the fastball. Just remember Logan. But Cal Quantrill is my guy. I think Cal, same thing. He's got a lot of talent, and they're focusing in with that fastball slider kind of together. I think that will play off of each other really, really, really well. Tristan, I love Tristan, and I want nothing but success for Tristan, and I think it's coming. I just love his attitude. I think he's what baseball needs, and I mean that just like in the person that he is. Same with Shane Bieber, the person that he is. He is an unbelievable person. Awesome. I can't remember the story I was going to tell you about Zach, but all right, and this is what I'll tell you about Plesac. I think Zach is the best athlete.
Oh yeah.
probably on the Indians and probably in baseball. He's phenomenal. But to tell you how old Zach makes me feel,
oh no,
after his second or third start, we're sitting in a dugout in Minnesota, and this is where I get to know guys. Where I'm just like number one rule to if anybody's watching this podcast and they're a kid or they're a kid and they wanted my job or they wanted to be me, and I've learned this from other reporters. The best thing I learn is when I'm just sitting in a dugout or sitting in a clubhouse, no microphones, and I'm just talking to these guys about who they are, where they're from, or what makes them successful. So I'm doing that with Zach Plesac. And I knew a little bit about him, and finally everybody asked me about his uncle because that's his name. But I'm like, I got to ask him about Ball State because a guy I went to high school with and a guy I went to college with and a guy I went to the Little League World Series with when we were 14, 15, named Alex Marconi, was the head coach at Ball State.
Yes. Awesome.
So, and he wasn't anymore at the time. So we're just talking and it just hits me. I'm like, oh shit. I was like, Marconi was at Ball State. You went to Ball State. And he goes, you know Marconi? And I go, yeah. And I tell him, I was like, he played shortstop on our state championship our state runner-up baseball team. And Alex, this is no hate if this gets back to you. He made 3 errors in the state championship. No big deal. We all sucked that day. We lost. But I had to tell that story to Zach. And, but he was my guy. We played baseball. I mean, we grew up together. We know each other since we were 12, 13 years old, had a lot of success playing baseball. I have the life I have. He's been a successful baseball coach in the MAC. I'm proud for him and his family. So I go to Plesac. I'm like, yeah, do you know him? He's like, how do you know him? And I kind of tell the story. And he goes, well, yeah, he recruited. And in only the way Zach can. He goes, yeah, he recruited me and he seemed real cool, but his ass was fired by the time I got there and everybody hated his ass.
Oh.
I was like, all right. And I go, okay, next subject.
I don't like that guy either.
Read the room.
God.
Yeah. basically he Kobe'd me.
Yeah, right.
A guy we've talked about a lot, and I want to hear your thoughts on. We're getting into the bullpen now. We don't know what the back end's exactly going to look like because you've got Karinchak with the nastiest stuff, but he's got his control issues and showed that he could get hit around a little bit at times when his mind's not 100% there. You got Whitgren, who's sturdy as all get out. We've talked a lot about Emmanuel Clase on this podcast, though, because the dude throws a 102-mile-an-hour cutter, right. And it's the craziest pitch I've ever seen. How are you feeling about that bullpen? We've churned through these all-stars in our bullpen in Cleveland, and now you've got a lot of young guys. How are you feeling about that?
My father-in-law and I had this great talk about this about a week and a half ago. After he read that story in The Athletic, after I gave him my Athletic password, and he somehow mumbled out loud. And we were in a cabin down in Hocking Hills. He's like, Dick, Big, Big. And I'm like,
No.
Never thought I'd hear my father-in-law say that. I was like,
oh, geez.
I can't believe you just said that.
It was in the story, bro. It was in the story.
The Men in Black stick that, man.
Yeah.
Talked about that.
As it came out of his mouth, I was like, why'd I give him my password?
He talked about that. We were like, we can't say this, so get it out now.
My bad. Kobe.
No, I love it.
Kobe.
No, I love it.
Oh, my God.
That's staying. That's
Frankie.
Yeah, right.
But all right, if it is cut or not cut. So I was talking to my father-in-law about the bullpen, and I said, it has a chance. If Tito and Carl Willis can use it the right way, it has a chance to be scary. But I think the two names guys that we need to know about, Karinchak and Clase. I think if you're playing a video game and we had it our way and Twitter ran the team, Karinchak would be closing on day one, and Clase would be the eighth inning guy on day one.
Yes.
And they would just flip-flop, right? That's the fun. That's how we want it. But knowing Tito and knowing that neither one of those guys, they're the most talented. They may be the most talented. They're right up there with the most. They may be the two talented, most God-given pitchers, relief pitchers in American League Central right now. And that's saying a lot. The White Sox got a couple kids that arms are unbelievable. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. I'm just saying on pure God-given ability stuff, Clase and Karinchak have it. But knowing how the Indians do things, I think they'll feel a lot more safe letting Whitgren close early on. And even if it may be all through May. And until they find the way to get those two kids consistent to know what they have coming, I take it this way, and I know this is hard for us to do in Northeast Ohio. I wouldn't judge the bullpen in June. I have a feeling by August we may have a bullpen that has people going, holy shit. Because we already talked about, like, let's say if Logan Allen can't start, and you just say, all right, we're going to make you a lefty. Let's say Anthony Ghost, the light bulb, and I mean, the light bulb's on, I think, but he's throwing 100 from the left-hand side.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're ready to make him a bullpen part yet. I'm just, if you want to be on the positive side, Mike,
for sure.
Look, things happen. People get hurt. Everybody doesn't come through. I know that. And so when people hear me saying this, I don't want to see the people tweet, no, this dick just does all. No, things happen. Everything's not going to come through.
Right.
But if they can get most of these guys lined up right, and I think we got to give them the benefit of the doubt because they have done that over the past 6-7 years. If they can put together what they usually put together, and we can get over ourselves and watch Brian Shaw in April and May.
Come on.
And we can watch and Brian Shaw's throwing 96, 97.
Yeah, he'll pitch 200 innings in April. It's fine.
Yes, he might. And I love Brian. Brian Shaw's one of my favorite Indians of all time, by the way. And I know that won't go over well, but he's a dude's dude. I know the average fan doesn't get it. They would love him if they knew him.
Sure.
But if they use the Shaws early, and I think they will, the Heath Embreys early, which I think they will, and they slowly but surely move towards the youth, I think they have a chance come July, August, September. If they're going to be good and win 90-plus games, by the end, Karinchak or Clase is going to be closing, with the other one being with Wickren, a guy that can do all those roles in the middle. Because, look, with the young pitching you have, if they can make this 6-inning games, let's go.
That was 2016.
Oh, yeah.
That was 2016.
Exactly.
Yeah. Starters go 6, bullpen shuts it down.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, real quick, just some quick hitters towards the end of our interview here, because you've been amazing. You've given us a ton of time, and we've had so much fun with you.
Thank
just
you guys
quick
for your
hitters.
patience. Okay.
We talked a lot about players. Is there a guy we haven't talked about that you're like, you guys have not talked about this guy, and this is the guy that's going to come up and do something, or this is the guy that you haven't said something about that's going to make something happen this year?
I've said Jose's name a lot, right?
What?
Oh, yeah.
I just
don't go out on a limb, Andre. Are you talking about Jose Ramirez? Never heard of him.
Dude, I'm only doing it because it's not just us. It's the country. It's Major League Baseball. I don't think we give that guy enough. I mean, I get it. He's built like me. Like, trust me. He's like built like he's there's a couple words I want to fire extinguisher. I mean, dude, he is the American, like, there's so many things I want to say about him. Because he's legit, man. He's it. He is the American dream.
Yeah.
He's the reason why any kid across America, no matter how tall, how strong, how chubby, how whatever, and like, he is the inspiration why you keep throwing the baseball and you have fun with the game and you believe in yourself. Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, when Lindor walked in the door and Hosey walked in the door, you knew instantly who was a ball player. But most people didn't realize the other one was just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
That dude has pushed himself and getting the most out of his ability. Like he's the longest tenured player we have. So, not to be crass, but I just feel like none of us speak on him enough. See, we don't, because what he has done. I mean, 3 of the last 4 years, he's been one of the top 3 players in the American League.
It's amazing. He came up as a utility player,
right? But no, and that's how you piss him off, Mike.
Right. Well, I'm not trying to piss him off.
I want to. I'm going
just saying.
I'm calling it right now. I'm calling
Don't
it.
tell him.
He will hit you with those callous hands, Mike.
No, I'm not trying to get those hands.
No, you don't want them hands.
No. God, I'm old. I'm fragile. I don't.
But I'm telling you, the first thing I'm asking him when I do a sit down with him in a couple days, how did a utility guy keep coming in second and third in the MVP race? And I want to see his face. Like, you do that and you remind him. To me, I love the game and I love what I'm doing because I love the stories like that give little kids around the country the chance to dream and believe. And when we take away the chance to dream, but look, everybody wants to be LeBron James, but God only given 6'8", 260 pounds and 3% body fat. That's only going out 1% of the time.
Yeah.
0.1% of the time.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
I didn't get that.
Nah, nobody. Mm-hmm. Nobody. No. But you have a chance to be built like, and then look, there's some God-given stuff that Jose is working with. But you get my drift. So I say that because I just don't ever want us to, because there's going to be one year when he walks away and we're going to be telling our kids and our kids' kids.
Yes.
Jose Ramirez.
That's a great answer. Okay. Let's say you are able to get back on the road a little bit this year, which I bet you're just dying to do.
It's the plan. It's the plan.
As much as you're dying to do it. So where are you dying to go? What place did you miss last year? And then what place did you miss the least last year? But you're not allowed to say some some bullshit like Tampa.
Kansas City.
You don't like Tampa, Kansas City?
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. You asked.
No, that's okay.
That's fair.
No.
Everybody's like, I hate Tampa. Like, I'm just thinking of the ballparks or whatever.
I love Tampa.
Okay.
I love Tampa.
Okay.
But see, there's a difference. There's a difference in ballparks, people, and the place.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Tampa's all right, like, look, I'm gonna give you something crazy. I miss going to Oakland. And you know why? And there's somebody already going, oh, that's the shittiest place. It is. And it reminds me of Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And I know it's the last of a dying breed.
Yeah.
As beautiful as all our ballparks are and as beautiful as all these places are, there is something about smelling piss when you walk into the Oakland House.
That's right.
Jenny Cream Ale and Pitt.
Yeah.
That was Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
Really takes me back.
Yeah, no, I was saying that being funny.
Yeah.
But it's a bad place, but it's got something. It's got some character.
Grit.
It's got character there, man. It's grit. It's a good word. It's got grit.
Yeah.
So I mean, do they have the water troughs then in the bathrooms? Like, is that?
Chad, I'm scared to go into the bathrooms. I'll be honest with you. Chad, it's scary. Like there's rats. It's old school.
Oh.
And their fans are awesome. Like even their 10,000 fans are better than 30 in Kansas City. I said it. Kansas City is not. It's the people. No offense to, because there's some good people there. But they're the one city that constantly they bag on players and call them racist shit. And then when they run off the field, they have their kids run up and ask for balls. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in other places. Their fans just have rubbed me the wrong way over the last 6 years. So if they want to come at me and yell and scream at me more, that's fine. Whenever I get to go back, I stand by what I said. Hey, man, Kansas City is the only place where I got my watch and shit stole out of my hotel room.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They had them on camera. And it happened. It did suck. They took care of me. Just so I would say that Minnesota is one of my favorite ballparks in the country. If you ever get a chance as a fan, check out Minnesota in the summer is a sleeper.
You have to go in the summer.
And like July. July
have to.
But it's a cool city. And if you're a Northeast Ohioan, you'll love it. Good beer, good food. You can walk everywhere. Minnesota is I'm telling you, it's a sleeper good city. Great ballpark. Seattle's ballpark, beautiful. Weather, yeah.
Okay, so tell us like a newer ballpark, or maybe it doesn't even have to be newer, but one that people don't really talk about, because everybody, like I said, everybody talks about crappy ballparks and they always bring up the same one. Is there like a newer-ish one that you just hate?
Washington.
Oh, really?
Did nothing for me. There's a couple. I would like, but Washington, I don't know why that's the first one that's jumped out to me. We made 2 trips there. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't do anything to you. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, it's new. There's another one. There's another one I'm thinking of that I'll be mad when we get off.
For me all the way. It's Houston.
Houston.
The juice box.
The juice box. I have my own feelings.
Sorry,
about
Chad.
Houston. I like the juice. When the juice box was first opened up, and Enron was a great business. That was my favorite. That was one of my favorite ones to play on the video games. It was. And like 2 years ago, I went up on the train tracks and had a good time with the weird guy that comes to every game, and I think he lives with his mom.
That's right.
And he scared me a little bit.
All right. So the last
knows what I mean.
I get you.
The last rapid fire.
All right.
You were home in Cleveland and you were joining us for a beer tonight because you said you're kind of a beer connoisseur. You like your beers. What beer are you drinking?
Oh man. The problem with me, I'd say Red Stripe to start off. If it's decently warm and I can have that bottle sweating. It's not my favorite beer, but it's one of my favorites to go to. Modelo is a favorite beer. The pandemic has gotten me into a ton of stronger beers that I never would have drank before. My neighbor, I have a neighbor who, if he happens to hear this, who's become one of my best friends because of the pandemic. The pandemic did 2 or 3 things. You found out during half of this that you couldn't stand half the people that you thought you were friends with, and you'll never be friends with them again. Whether it's because of the pandemic, whether it's because of their thoughts on masks, or what they thought about. It was a hell of a year, right?
For real.
I actually gained a better friend. My neighbor Pat put me on to a lot of premier beers, just stronger beers that I never thought I would have. And I don't want to give out one name. I'm trying to think of the one that he had me drink. Like, I've drank some strong beers over the last year that I never drank before. I've had a couple where my wife has had to look at me. It's just like, I think you need to go to bed.
and yet, okay, ladies and gentlemen, Andre Knott is still looking TV ready after a bunch of strong beers in the pandemic. He's looking TV ready. And dude, you're ready to go. When are we seeing you on TV the first time?
You will see me on TV during the Indians game, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. The Indians will take on the Reds. We will be on. I'll give you our whole dates. I'll give you all the dates. This is what they want me to do. So
all right, let's go. 162 dates. Let's go.
Every single one. Let's go.
Mike just made up for the intro. This is how you do it. You're a pro, brother.
Come on.
Because this is what they really want me to do. They're like, if you appear somewhere, could you please let them know when the games are? I'm like, every day.
There's a sun up, it's happening today.
Right, yeah, when they play. But for spring training next week, St. Patty's Day, we will be on versus the Reds. No, that's not the Reds. Why is this? This should be the right way. Oh, yeah, we are going against the Reds at 6:05.
Mike Freeman and the Reds.
Mike Freeman and the Reds.
Yeah.
And Tyler Naquin. My man Naquin. Yeah. That'll be a 6 o'clock start back at home. Or actually, 6 o'clock, I think, for you guys back at home.
Yeah.
No, it's a night game for us. It'll be 9 o'clock for you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say later. Yeah.
Okay.
Us. Then we'll be on, I believe, the next day. Yeah, the Cubs will be on the next day at 4 o'clock. So the 17th, 18th. Then we come back and we're on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So you'll get us in all those. Also, I'm doing some stuff for Fox 8 that you'll see on the news probably through Monday through Friday. Most of the news, you'll see me on some of those things. You'll see me on some cool ass podcasts.
One for sure, Andre.
Hopefully as well. I'm working, and thank you guys for doing this. I agreed to do this podcast because I knew I was going to be stuck in my room all day and I didn't have anything else better to do. But I appreciate it.
That's the main reason. I know it's the main
thanks.
reason.
Yeah, I got a compliment.
Chad, when you asked, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing shit.
We usually like to make sure our guests are locked up before we interview them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, next time I'll be in prison when they have me. No, I appreciate what podcasting is doing. I appreciate the conversations. I'm a big nerd of radio and all that other stuff, and I love where this is going. I'm actually working on some stuff. I obviously have the A to Z podcast.
The A to Z podcast, yeah, we got to bring that up.
That's never going to die. My friend Zach Jackson and I, that's just our baby from way back when.
Yeah,
but awesome. I am working on some stuff with Blue Wire podcasting. I can't let the cat completely out of the bag, but I think we're gonna have some cool stuff coming if everything works out the way we've been working out on it. And I think fans of Northeast Ohio, I got something up my sleeve for all of us that could be fun. So you guys keep doing what you're doing well. You guys are pushing it. I used to I'll be honest, I used to only listen to podcasts of famous people. But it's been kind of cool.
What are you saying?
No, yeah. That's why I'm on this one.
This is Chad Meyer.
Yeah, right. No, but I'm admitting, it's like I don't listen to everybody's podcast, but it's fun to talk. It's fun to talk. Like, this is what it's about. It's the same thing as going to a bar and having a couple beers and just shooting the crap with some people about sports.
Yeah.
That's why I appreciate it.
That's the vibe we go for here, Andre. I mean, kind of like you said, it's like, you don't want to pretend like all these athletes are made of glass, and you just want to get to know them. And that's what we go for, on this podcast. We want to sit around, bullshit, kind of give that happy hour vibe, have some laughs, and
well, we've been lucky, man.
Go on about our day.
This is episode 56. We're at this for a year now. We've had probably 50 special guests, and you're another one to add to a really great list that we're very, very lucky to have. So, Andre Knott, you've heard where to hear him in spring training. You know where to find him. Sports Time Ohio, Fox 8, the Fox Sports app that you got to get if you're like me and you cut your cable.
Put my feet up. I'm putting my feet up so you know I'm comfortable.
Put his feet up. That's how you know that that's how you know he's working hard, is when he's got his feet up in the lower bowl of the stadium. Andre Knott, go follow him on Twitter at Dre Knott. Andre, thank you so much, man, for joining us. It was a blast.
Thank you for having me. I'll do this again because I want to have a beer with you guys. But Joey, when the pandemic's over, I want to hang out with you first.
Yes, let's do it.
Dude, the quiet dude's always a scary dude.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You wouldn't believe the stories out there. You wouldn't believe it.